This is it.
That's a good song, but I don't know it.
It's a good song, yeah.
Hello and welcome to Girls with Goals. I'm Denise Curtin and today I'm joined by a super fabulous couch. I've got fashion and lifestyle influencers Aoife Walsh and Rob Kenny. Hello.
Hello.
First time for both of you on the show.
Indeed, yeah.
Absolutely.
You know what, even when I was introducing you there as influencers, how do you feel about that word? Because I'm scared that some people are like, I don't like it, and then others are like, it's fine. So how is your take on the word influencer?
I mean, I think it's like a love-hate relationship.
Yeah, I hate it. I hate it. Yeah.
Really?
I mean, it just alludes to deceiving
Yeah,
someone
true.
by the nature of the word. Like,
Yeah.
I'm influencing you. It's awful. Yeah.
It's like, because I know it's like people think like if I'm being influenced, it's to buy something I don't like or to do something I don't
Exactly.
like. But I'm often influenced in like really good ways.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
online. Do
agree.
you know what
I
mean?
think you're kind of giving it inspiration.
Yeah.
Like we'll say I do a lot of fashion and stuff, so
Yeah.
you're just giving like fashion inspiration to
Yeah.
other girls that might have.
Maybe
like,
we should be
similar
called
style.
inspirators.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah.
think that's such a better
Oh
name.
my God, that's so much better.
I'm an inspirator.
I'm an inspirator. Oh my God, that's way better.
Please put that as your bio on Instagram.
I
now.
just
Oh my God,
coined
that's
that.
brilliant job.
I'm an inspirator.
I'm an inspirator.
You heard it here first.
I don't influence, I inspire.
I inspire. It's so
Sorry.
much
Yeah,
nicer.
yeah.
Well, I think generally a lot of people are moving on to content creator.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
is much nicer.
Yeah,
And
no.
it actually sums up what we do so much more.
I
Like
know.
the amount of content creation, like that's, you know, the big part of it. So it sums it up more.
I know, because people forget that like it is like an absolute full-time job when it comes to like creating video and posts and working with brands and everything. Like that takes time. Like that
So
takes
much
a
time.
whole day. It's not just like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm sitting at home, I'll just post a gorge pic and
Yeah.
see
Yeah,
how
yeah,
it
yeah.
does. You know, there's just so much more to it. But welcome home as well.
Thank you.
You've been home a couple of weeks now, have you?
I've been home about 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, so I came home really actually like just to do some work on my wedding next year. Just woohoo! I'm getting married. Yeah, so I'm getting married in July.
Yeah.
And so I was kind of like at the 8-month mark and I was like, gosh, I really need to actually do something. I'd kind of like done all my big bookings like earlier on in the year, and then I kind of like forgot about it and did like very little, to be honest. And I think, to be honest, October came and I was like, oh my God, I've actually nothing done. I was like, I need to do some
When's the
stuff.
wedding again?
In July,
Oh
like
my
early
gosh.
July.
Like that? Like you'd be
Gonna
surprised
fly.
how soon
Yeah,
that hits.
absolutely. And like, there's like no one actually tells you. There's so much that goes into planning a wedding,
Yeah.
like so much. So yeah, I kind of came home to do a little bit of work on that and a little bit of wedding dress shopping, which is.
Well, you seem really relaxed, you know. You
Yeah,
don't
well,
seem
like,
like
yeah.
you're like, you know,
In general,
teetering
like
over
I'm
the
a
edge.
chilled person,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
internally I'm like freaking out.
Do you have ideas about the wedding dress?
Well, yeah, like I started in May. My mom was over in New York, and we went to all the biggies. So we did like Kleinfeld, which was where like they did Say Yes to the Dress.
Yeah.
Oh my God, God.
Oh my God,
yeah.
and it's exactly like it is on the TV. It's like, oh, it's like really, really cool. I loved it. It was such an experience. And then we did Pronovia's flagship on Madison Avenue, and then we also, just for the crack, you know, we did Vera Wang.
Oh, wow, hello.
It was
Hello.
like couture.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, I love this. But I'm like afraid to touch anything.
Yeah. I
know.
And yeah, that was an amazing experience. And then I kind of chilled out for most of the summer because I was like, you know what, I feel like I'm probably doing this a little bit too early and I'd probably get sick of my dress if I got it like already. So I chilled out for the summer, and then like September, October came and I was like, oh my God. I was like, okay, I now
Yeah.
need to get it.
Yeah.
So I saw one anyway that is in the back of my mind.
Okay.
Yeah, which I think is a really
That's
good
nice.
sign.
Yeah.
Because I was panicking a little
Yeah.
bit. Like I was panicking, being like, oh, I'm never going to find it. Because in general, I suppose, like I'd be a really picky person.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, I like this, but I don't like that kind of a
Yeah.
thing. And there's one that's sticking in the back of my mind.
It's so cool that there's like, you just hit the one and you're like, I think this is
so
it.
funny how
That's
it
mad.
happens.
It's
Like,
mad.
I actually thought like I'd never find it. I was like, oh no, I'll just end up settling for something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, no, there's one I actually really love.
Oh, that's amazing.
That's really exciting. And were you on like Pinterest and stuff like that before? Like, or did you just go into stores thinking like, I'll see what they have? Or-
Yeah, like, I mean, to be honest, I went into stores seeing what they have, but like in hindsight, I don't know if that's something that I'd recommend brides to
Yeah.
be to do, because I think you're telling someone what is in your head, and it's very hard to kind of like translate that into real life. So I think like what I ended up doing was I just did a lot of research online, and I researched different brands, different styles I like. Every like designer has their own style, like really. So I kind of...
That just made me jump to Carrie Bradshaw.
Yeah, literally.
Like, and how distinct Oscar de la Renta was, then Dior.
I only watched that recently actually, and I was like, oh.
Even when you
Feeling
mentioned Vera
inspired.
Wang, I thought of the movie. I was like,
I know, yeah.
Such
It was,
an iconic scene.
oh my God.
Isn't it?
yeah.
Oh.
So, but yeah, so there's one anyway that I love. So I think that might be the one.
Fabulous.
It'd be a great thing. It could be a massive thing to like tick off the old to-do list.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
And how are you finding the travelling between New York and back to Ireland? Is it a lot?
Oh, I'm wrecked.
Yeah.
I'm like constantly in a state of jet lag.
Yeah,
Oh,
I can
no.
imagine. I can imagine.
know.
Because anytime I go onto your Instagram, you're probably the same. You're constantly somewhere else. I'm like, where? Because even when I messaged you about coming on the show today, I was like, oh, you're in Ireland.
here.
I was like, this is amazing. I was like,
I know, it's mad. I do a lot of travel. So, but like, and it can be difficult, but like, look, I just try and make the most of it. It's not like something I'm going to be doing forever.
Yeah.
And like, there is like, you know, an end at some stage, but
Is the end here or there?
I don't know yet.
Oh.
I don't know. I have to talk to my hubby-to-be about it. Like,
but
you know, we have
that's
to
kind
make
of exciting
decisions.
that it's like still up in the air. You don't have like concrete thoughts on any
know,
of it. Which
yeah,
is
I think
good.
Although it's also kind of stunning. You get half your life here, half your life in New York.
I mean, could you pick a better
I
place?
know.
Like,
As
hello.
much as
No,
the
it's
travel
great.
obviously is a pain, it's also amazing.
Stunning,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's amazing. The summers in New York are like amazing because you actually have defined seasons in New York. Like you have a winter, you have an autumn, and like you really have a summer. So that's like kind of like what I love the most because I suppose here it's just like a constant state of dampness.
Yeah. A constant state of dampness.
Damn.
It's just damp. So I mean, yeah, I love the summers in New York. They're amazing, and you know it should start snowing as well in New York soon.
Oh, New York.
Everything about New York is magical, though. Come
And you have
on, like,
Louise now.
I know. I have a buddy.
I
I have a
love
buddy. Yeah,
that.
we've our own like little crew over there now. Yeah.
Because
Nights
even when I
out.
see like Erica Fox and everything,
Yeah.
there's like such a New York gang now.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah, there
I need
is.
to come
All of a sudden
over.
now, there's loads of us there. Like, yeah,
there
it's mad.
is. Yeah, it's
I am
actually.
booking flights.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you need to get on it.
I do. I've been saying it to Louise since she moved. And I'm
Yeah.
like, en
Still-
route.
Gives a minute.
She's like, lol.
Lol,
Simply
please
not.
no.
Please
Your
don't.
gas.
She's like, I've just done up my apartment. Not him.
But speaking of travel, you actually need to stay put for a while because you seem to be gone for the last 6 years on that cruise.
I
was
know.
like,
Well, everyone keeps saying that to me. How long was that cruise? I'm like,
the
"Is it?"
cruise felt
Yeah,
so.
well
Every
done.
time I was looking at it, I was like, surely he's coming back today. No, new island, new place.
Well, do you know what? We had a couple of days in Florida, both sides, and like the whole thing took about 2 weeks, but it was only like 7 full nights on the cruise, which it definitely seemed
way
a lot
longer.
longer.
That freaks me out.
But then Holly and I flew straight to Manchester and went to Christina Aguilera, so the whole trip was longer.
It was a long,
Yeah.
long,
So
long
you
year.
like flying to Manchester to go to Christina
Go to
Aguilera.
Christina.
Dirty.
Like,
imagine
of course, I had to do that.
No, it was the updates. If anyone follows Rob, they probably know it's the updates waiting for Christina to come to the stage were just hilarious. They were all from like this angle from your face up, and you were like waiting with your like drink being like,
Just
come
like crying,
on.
screaming. If anyone doesn't know, I'm the biggest Christina Aguilera fan in the world,
Yeah.
so that was a big moment for me.
You bought the merch and everything I saw.
Bought
that
the merch. I made Holly go like an hour early to make sure we got merch.
No, I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
Funny.
But
Oh,
yeah,
best
the
holiday.
cruise was amazing. What was the highlight?
Definitely the crew, to be honest. So when I got the invite from the Royal Caribbean PR team, they were like, oh, it's a group of 8 influencers. Like, would you like to be one of them? Safe to say. I was like, yes, thanks a million. And they were like, yeah, it's going to be 6 English influencers, 2 Irish. And the PR girl was like to me, would you recommend another Irish influencer?
Oh, you're like,
And I
hello.
was like, Holly Carpenter. Because obviously we're best friends.
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, great. And I was like, she actually also writes travel articles for the Indo and the Herald, and they were like, amazing.
Yeah.
So then the next thing they invited Holly.
Oh my God, I love
That's
it.
even better then,
Yeah.
yeah.
And you're like, my plan is coming
I
together.
know. So yeah, and then Holly was dying to know who the other influencers were, like the English ones. I was very like, oh, whatever, find out when
Yeah.
I get there. Holly was like, no, I need
No,
to
I
know.
need to suss this out.
Which
yeah.
actually very much sums up her personality and mine. And then the PR girl finally told us the day before. There was like yeah, two really hot straight men. And
Yeah, no,
obviously-
I was really like checking those tags, those
I
sweet
know.
tags on your Instagrams, because I was like, who are these people that they're gone with, you know? But yeah, it looked fabulous. And did you
So
stay
good.
together like as a group then, or?
Yeah, so we had dinners every evening as a group,
lovely.
and we kind of really quickly split off into different groups within the group, but everyone in the group got on really well. Everyone came from kind of a slightly different content background, so it was actually really inspiring.
Yeah.
I got so inspired from the week with this group. Like, it made me realise I'm actually quite lazy with content, like,
Yeah.
total honesty. The amount of planning and work, and like each content piece they put up is so well thought through. You know, it genuinely made me feel guilty that I'm not
Yeah.
good enough.
No, stop. But I think sometimes, especially in Ireland, we get like almost a bit of imposter syndrome, because we're like, oh, like people don't really care what I'm doing, or why do I think that I can do that?
That is such
Yeah.
a,
You
that
know?
I
So
actually really felt that. And
Yeah.
also what I realised about Irish people and Irish influencers is we're more embarrassed than the English ones. Like, they will just put up whatever they want.
Yeah.
Without worrying about what will people think, as much as, well, definitely I would
Yeah.
think I
Yeah,
am.
no,
and when
absolutely.
we got into big group conversations about this, and Holly and I both kind of felt like they were way less concerned about what people think than the Irish influencers were, which was,
Interesting.
it was quite notable. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and Holly and I were like, we're stopping that. Like, we're just gonna, you know, take
Yeah.
a leaf out of the English book.
Yeah, and it's funny because no one ever really cares as much as you do yourself, you
Yeah.
know. And I know it's kind of, it sounds like cutthroat almost,
Yeah.
but like
Yeah.
that's the thing, you know, when you put up something, you're like, oh my god, like is that bad, or like do I look like I think I'm
Totally.
unreal, or
And probably nobody cares,
And nobody
really.
No.
cares to that point that you do, you
Yeah.
know. So it is that kind of like imposter
Yeah.
syndrome where you're like, I don't know, am I like good enough
It's
to
such
do
an
that?
Irish
Yeah,
thing.
it's such an Irish
Like,
thing.
there's loads of videos I've thought about doing on my Instagram, and have always just bottled it in the
Yeah,
end.
and you wouldn't feel like confident.
Because I'm like, oh, they could be horrendous.
Yeah.
People might think I'm so weird. Like,
Or
do
you
you know?
actually go in and like film something and then don't put it up. Or
I've
something.
done that as well. Whereas now I'm like, no, I don't care anymore.
Yeah, I know, but I don't know why.
Good
that's,
on you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good on you. That's the kind of spirit you need, though,
Isn't
because
it?
I like it's even when it comes to, you know, someone complimenting your clothes. Like if someone's like, "Oh, your like top is lovely," it's old. It's
like,
we need,
what's
wrong with I don't know. It's like we need to tell them straight away, like it's old, or it's from pennies, or
Yeah.
it's cheap, or
Yeah.
you can wear it
This
any
old
time, or
thing.
you know, yeah.
Have it
Yeah.
And we've got that like almost fear, like don't be looking at me, or don't like you know.
Totally.
Yeah, it's funny, but actually it's great that you get to do things like that, because then it gives you the freedom to travel and so on and so forth. So it's great that like you have your own time to work on stuff like that. Because I actually read a statistic recently, and it was saying that an influencer or a YouTuber is the most sought after career for Irish teenagers.
I heard this.
Yeah,
I
what do
haven't
you-
heard that.
Yeah, what do you think of that?
I'm a bit shocked. I think.
Yeah,
of that.
it's not great.
Listen, kids.
Like, no, I totally, of course, understand how this has happened. They're following influencers.
Yeah.
They think it looks like this amazing life.
Yeah.
Like, it's so clear how it could have happened. But should it be number one on the list?
No, absolutely
Do you know,
not.
like,
I mean,
no.
like when we're going, it would have been like doctor, or
Exactly,
solicitor,
exactly.
teacher.
I
Exactly.
remember when I was starting first year of secondary school, and they were like to us, so how many people here want to be a secondary school teacher? All of us shot up
Yeah.
our hands, because we were like I remember at the time being like, what else could I do?
I actually am a secondary
Yeah.
school teacher.
You have got 3 degrees.
Yeah.
No, I'm screaming. Aoife's like, I'm not an influencer. Where am I? I teach in St. Margaret's.
I'm a secondary school. I think I'm on the wrong show.
I'm a secondary school teacher. I
He was like, wait, influencers, no, teachers.
can't breathe. Where am I? I have class.
Dead. Dead.
But yeah, you have 3 degrees jumping from one thing to another. That's
Yeah.
outrageous. Would you
Yeah.
ever go into teaching? Speaking of
Would I go back into it? I mean, like,
Teach influencing.
yeah,
teaching?
yeah. Oh my god, now that it's going to be fucking a
It's the
subject.
number one choice.
Yeah.
it's like taking a class in like marketing.
Yeah,
Class
this
in
is how to do
influencing.
#ad. Yeah, it actually is a thing that people need to know about.
yeah.
So honestly, look.
There's the demand.
I don't know. I mean, I'd never say never
Okay.
about like going back into teaching, but like right now, it just obviously wouldn't work for me.
Yeah.
Just with like my travel and stuff. But And I don't know. I mean, I kind of feel like I've had like nearly three careers so far because I was teaching. And then, like, I modelled full time.
Yeah,
so I was like a full-time model, and now I'm more in the influencing side of things.
I
so
love that. Like while you're young, totally switching it up. I love that.
Absolutely, and like you get bored if you're in the one thing for too long.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the great thing about, I feel like, for the modelling, like the modelling kind of lended itself nicely into.
Yeah, it was a natural transition for me then. Like you know. But yeah, who knows where I'm going to be like in like 5-10 years time.
Because people do worry about the longevity of the influencer thing. That's the, like you do it while you're young and then does it crash? Does it like,
Because it's like a brand new job that like, you know, no one in front of us, like ahead of us has done it already. So you just don't know.
It's the same with influencer marketing generally.
Yeah.
Like, you know, marketeers are still, you know, figuring it out as they go. So
I can't say it's going to go anywhere though.
No.
I'm like, I
It's
couldn't
not.
see it disappearing.
What job is for life these days? Like, honestly, you know, they're kind of like, oh, you know,
Permanent, pensionable.
Yeah, you know, all the things, tick, tick, tick. But yeah, like, and I think that's like, people think like, oh, but like Instagram could go tomorrow, but I'm like, something else would take its place. And I don't think Instagram's going to go. Like, come on.
We
like,
love it too much.
We love it way too much. I use it so many times a day. It's actually...
It's terrifying.
It's literally changed the world.
Yeah.
Like, whether we realise or not, it's like, you know, we live in a completely different world than we did before Instagram existed.
I know.
So it's crazy to think that. Like.
And then YouTuber being the other top job for teenagers, would you ever like focus predominantly on YouTube, do you think, either of you?
I never really thought about it before, but then again, that cruise, it was such a big channel for some of the English guys that, again, it was a bit like, ooh.
Yeah.
And then you actually directly make an income from it.
See, that's the thing with the ads
which
and
is
everything.
mind-blowing.
Yeah.
Like Mike Thurston was on the cruise with us, and he's a insanely huge YouTuber. One of the biggest fitness YouTubers in the world.
Wow.
Millions of followers, like. And yeah.
Were you looking on him?
Yeah, he wasn't sore on the eye. But he was explaining it, and you're like, it is obviously like, wow. But then so hard to grow on it.
It's very hard to grow,
it would be intimidating to even start.
I know. But like that, like my sister's only 19 and she lives on YouTube. Like YouTube is her TV, YouTube is her series, YouTube is her everything. Like following people from like Zoella to
I think our generation slightly missed the boat on that a bit.
Yeah. We did.
I think so,
yeah.
almost.
And then it's like, are we being a bit small-minded, not diving into YouTube, knowing that the generation slightly younger than us are obsessed with it?
Yeah. Because even like,
one to think
I've been watching that Shane Dawson and Jeffree Star documentary, you could call it, on YouTube, and like that, every episode that goes up gets like over 20 million views. You know, like people are like obsessed with it.
The drama of all those famous American YouTubers is like
it's
an insane
it's tea on its own.
It's a different celebrity world.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's almost like trumping the Kardashians in the sense that like people are switching towards YouTube and watching programs on there. And like that, I find if you watch one thing on YouTube, you end up then like searching other things and you stay on it for so
scroll
long.
down hours.
Yes, hours. My favorite thing on YouTube now is to watch series of people like giving house tours of their homes.
Oh, wow.
I have such an obsession with seeing what other people's houses look like. It's so weird. Interiors, yeah. But yeah, so the YouTube thing could be a thing that you might dip your foot into.
Yeah.
It's definitely lingering around my mind, but I haven't even begun to think about how it started.
And I think like in terms of like editing videos and stuff, that would take so long.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd have to do some sort of mad course, or you'd be hiring someone.
Yeah.
Like your man Mike has a full-time videographer with him.
Go on.
Yeah. Now, like it's this guy Louis Armstrong who I became really close with on the cruise. He's just like hilarious. But yeah, like I'm in love with my boyfriend, and Louis was straight. But yeah, he's on a full salary from Mike. Like it's another leg of the whole operation.
That's just like the next level, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. And then if you had to talk about peak and pit of the career, what would you say it is? In terms, like, you don't have to say specific, like something you did, but just what you think would be the general peak of being an influencer, blogger, content creator, and the pit.
I suppose like peak, I mean, I suppose maybe for me would be like the community that like you create from your page, like, you know, followers reaching out and like having the chats and talking about, you know, different things.
Yeah, I'm just like, your answer is way more like lovely than mine.
Yours is like the free shit.
Sorry, keep going.
the face cream that I get weekly. Yeah.
No, but like I'd have like followers who would like get on to me like regularly about like different things that's going on or different things I'm wearing or different things I'm using, and like, you know, sharing advice, sharing tips. And especially since I got married as well, I've had so many brides to be like get on to me like they've been stressed and they're like, are you stressed? And I'm like, yeah, I'm stressed. And you know, it's just actually it's really nice to know like people out there like, you know, are just like really friendly and really nice. And you know, I suppose I think that's like a peak for me, just to have like a nice community on Instagram.
And definitely like coming around to your wedding as well, it's lovely to know and to talk to people that are in the same position that you wouldn't necessarily actually know, because it's kind of like an anonymous person that you get to kind of like almost like
but
divulge
then we have something in common as well,
that's
you
so
know,
lovely.
it's really nice. Like, and then they're always asking like, oh, when you get married, and then they're sharing when they're getting married, and they're like, what stage are you at? And I'm like, I'm at this stage. What stage are you at?
Okay.
Do you have this done? I'm like, oh, I better get that done. And you know, it's really nice.
Oh, that's lovely. Yeah.
You know, it's nice to have that. Like, especially I suppose
it's kind of surreal as well.
Yeah,
like,
it is.
When there's so many people listening and watching and talking, and when you take a step back and you're like, but it is amazing.
But I suppose sometimes when you put up a post, you almost forget, like if someone like when people respond to it and stuff, you're like, oh my God, I forget like when I'm just talking to my phone that it's actually going to so many people, you know, it's mad.
Someone only said to me recently, I think was it on the cruise? Anyway, wherever I was, the amount of people watching my stories, it was like, oh, that can fill the 3 arena X times, and you actually, it's one of those moments where you're like, oh,
it actually would make you feel like
when you envisage it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Like if you were to actually stand there with a mic and like talk your stories.
When you actually picture it like that, yeah. Yeah,
that is, because when you're in the 3 arena, you feel overwhelmed. So like only imagine being like on the stage.
Or I remember I was at the Spice Girls with James Kavanagh, and oh God, is he going to kill me for saying this? Anyway, whatever. And we were putting up stories, and there was more people watching his stories than were in the...
That is outrageous.
What, more people watching his stories than were in... What arena was that? The
Croke Park, wasn't it?
Park,
yeah.
Oh my God. And it was like, that's really weird.
Well, that's creepy then, you know what I mean? That's like, if you were to invite everyone that watched your stories to a venue, like, where would you hold it? And it was extra weird
because we were sitting there looking at, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We were surrounded, so that was a weird moment.
Oh my God, you forget that it's so many bodies, you know, you sometimes look at the figure and you forget that like that's actually, that translates to people and eyes.
Insane, yeah.
So your peak?
First thing that jumped, well, 2 things jumped to mind for me. One is the freebies. No, it's not. It's not. Honestly.
Yeah, sure, Rob. Yeah.
No, number 1 for me is the kind of obscene but amazing situations you get put in. Like, things jump to mind, like, you know, hanging out of a hot air balloon, or like these crazy road trips around Ireland with brands. Like, you end up in these really kind of amazing experiences that I don't think you'd even ever really plan in your normal life.
No,
because they can be quite obscene, you know, because brands are doing these marketing activations and they do, you know, weird, wonderful things.
They're thinking outside the box for stuff.
So like when you look back at the situations you've been in, you're like, that's really cool.
That's very true.
Yeah. That's good definitely answer, one. Thanks, son. And then second for me would be a couple of campaigns where you've really actually made a difference. Yeah. Like I'm working on one at the moment for the gay community. Can't actually really go into that much detail about it, but it's definitely my favourite campaign I've ever done, and it's launching later this month, and I'm going to be working on that for the next few months, and it's pretty amazing. Yeah. So definitely that side as well.
And I think that's like, you know, when we go back to when we were saying about the influencer and we were like, oh, but it's such a bad word. But that is exactly what you're doing, you know. Yeah. Like when you're doing like campaigns like that, you're influencing for like the greater good. Yeah. You know, as cheesy and all as that sounds. But that's exactly what it is, you know. So I think like when people like take the word out of context, they're seeing it as being like, you know, oh, she's telling me to buy this top that she actually got for free. What a bitch. When it's actually not that, you know, as a whole. So that's fabulous. Yeah, okay. And then the pit. Dun-dun.
First thing that jumps to mind is haters.
Yeah.
Like,
let me think. I suppose maybe having to like go online maybe when you don't feel like going online. Do you know, as in like
the pressure.
Yeah, like like sometimes you just want a day off and like not to talk to anybody.
I actually just do though.
Yeah, like sometimes like I just kind of like take a day or two off to myself just to like, you know, regroup.
I might
do boring things in my life.
And clean and dust and those things. But I think like
Dust.
Yeah, clean my house.
I've never in my
Guys,
life
I need to dust. So I'm turning this off.
Never in my life dust. I don't even know why I clean and dust.
Where did it come from? Like,
I'm deleting Instagram. I need to dust.
I need to dust. Your pit?
Yeah, haters obviously aren't amazing. Not that I get that many of them, but
Yeah.
no, see, I don't get that many
yeah,
either.
I
so-
kind of did around the Bloggers in the World time, which we won't go back to. It's long in the past, and I haven't really since. Yeah, the pressure, I suppose, but yeah, what else?
Yeah.
That's kind of. I really like
The
my job.
haters, yeah, the haters thing is just a strange thing. I feel like it's not like as much of a thing in Ireland, or I hope not. I don't really like.
Well, there are just some odd people.
Yeah.
That pop up every now and
And
then.
they'll be everywhere.
Yeah.
But I'm actually quite good at ignoring them. I'm like, oh, block. Like, you know, if it's someone quite vulgar.
Yeah.
Other people get more upset. I've seen. I'm quite good at just being like, you're an unhappy person.
Yeah,
delete.
so like because I always imagine myself in that situation, like writing to someone like that. I'm like, who actually has the time or
know.
cares that much to like
know.
send a comment?
Well, I always think that if somebody has sent like a nasty comment like that there's something obviously going on in their own life that
Yeah.
is, you know, creating that anger and like, you know, within themselves. So you just try and not take it personally.
Yeah, no, and I think you're looking at it definitely the right way, because like the more you leave it affect you, the more it will. So I think that's definitely the way to do it.
Another negative, actually, I've just remembered, which I'm trying to work on personally, is the comparing yourself.
Yeah.
Like, it just comes with the job.
Yeah.
I think, like, you see how well he's doing and she's doing, and you're like, why am I not? The comparing yourself.
Yeah, that's
happens.
definitely tough.
That can happen naturally, like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's something that I think Instagram across the board like creates, you know, even when I'm like on Instagram and I'm like, okay, rude that I'm not at that event.
I know! Why do we do it?
And I'm like, and then I'm kind of like, maybe it's like not like, you know, people in the media, it's just influencers. And then I see someone that I know and I'm like, okay, I need to actually put that down because I'm getting thick.
Yeah,
You know? So,
but that's the negative side of Instagram generally. Like, that's for everyone.
I think that's across the board,
Yeah.
But like you were saying about taking time to clean and dust, you know, and taking time off Instagram
I think
stuff.
I think that's important. I think
Yeah.
it's important. So, like, you know, we'll say like when people are in their jobs, like, you know, if they go into an office and they're in those jobs from like 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. So they get time off like from their job on a Saturday and Sunday. So I think like, you know, it's good for us maybe to take a day or two off here and there as well, like just to recoup and like just I suppose for like to stay motivated and to stay kind of like
Absolutely.
you know, keeping content interesting
Instead of
and-
just, I need to post, what can I post? Yeah.
Exactly.
like, yeah.
But like you were saying, because like influencing and content creation, it's such a kind of new realm on Instagram and stuff like that, that there is no time to like switch off. You know, you don't leave the job at 6 p.m. or whatever, you know, so it is kind of hard to know when do I stop and when do I post and like when do I have my me time, you know, because like that, if you're going out for dinners and stuff with like your loved ones or whatever, you're like, well, this is fun. Like I'm going to keep
of
posting.
course. Yeah,
That's then work as well, you know, so yeah, it's kind of finding that, that
Well, the
happy
whole
medium.
like just doing stories naturally, I don't think is, like, I want to do that.
Yeah,
you know,
so that's
it's not
good.
like work.
Yeah.
Like actually planning content or working with brands, that's the more work side
Yeah.
of it. My boyfriend doesn't personally love when I start getting really, you know, like he actually hates it. I think yours is similar, isn't it?
Yeah, like not that he hates it, he doesn't hate it. I just think he doesn't want to be involved.
He doesn't want to be in
Yeah,
it.
he
Yeah.
just he
Same actually.
But I think that's nice then, because you're keeping an aspect of your life separate. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think that's kind of nice as well, because then at least you know that that aspect is for you, whether, you know, you put them up against their will or they're just hiding. At least that's something that you kind of have, like, you know, you don't get to see the full
you
side
just
of
see
the
a lot
relationship.
of the back of his head.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all know your boyfriend's hair. Your fiance.
Yeah, he's great hair though.
Yeah, we'll point him out in the crowd.
I'd be like getting him a campaign now for some hair brand.
That's why you're hiding him. He's booked by L'Oreal for a big reveal.
So that's it. Now we're going to take a short break, as earlier this week Niamh caught up with Sigrid ahead of her gig in the Tree Arena. So here's how she got on.
Sigrid, thank you so much for sitting down and chatting to us on the world's most uncomfortable couch. It's an absolute pleasure to have you here, finally.
I'm trying to find a good position.
Yeah, I can't. So I'm just going to go with the one leg up, one leg down situation.
Looks nice.
So we're here. We've caught you right in the middle of your Sucker Punch tour. So exciting. You've been to Ireland 10 times to perform in the last 2 years.
Has it been that many times?
That's to perform. So we don't know how many times you've been here just leisurely.
promo.
But I suppose I wanted to ask first off, when you travel so much, do you ever get an affinity to a certain country, or is it just hotel, rehearsal, stage, bed?
Oh, I really want to say that it's like crazy whenever we go on tour and stuff, but it's usually the latter. Like it is a lot of just sleep, eat, work, go to bed.
Yeah.
That's usually what we do. But no, we try to see countries and try to see like the cities that we go to. We go to a lot of cafes and just sit down and talk and drink coffee forever.
Nice.
Usually what we do.
Which cafes specifically in Dublin? We're very excited to go to these cafes.
I went to one yesterday. The Hubbard Brothers.
Oh, Brother Hubbard's.
Brother Hubbard's.
It's so good.
Hubbard's.
I mean,
yeah.
honestly, I kind of get that name confused as well. The eggs there are amazing.
Oh,
Did you
really?
get,
Yeah.
yeah, did you get the eggs?
Yeah, I did.
Oh,
I did.
they're
It was
so
lovely.
good, yeah.
Nice cafe. Yeah, that's usually what we do. We
Yeah.
just go out and eat and talk and try to see the sights.
I could
Walk
digress
the
and
bridges.
talk about eggs for the entire time, but I suppose we should talk a little bit about the music. So growing up in Norway, going back a little bit, was it always music for you? Was that going to be the career, or did you have any other aspirations when you were young?
Not at all. I love
Really?
music, but it was more of like a hobby. I did music, I did dancing, I did hip-hop classic, ballet, I did modern and jazz and hip-hop.
Oh.
So I danced, but nothing like, it was never like serious with any of it. And then I did theater as well, so I was like that proper culture kid, I guess, of just like doing everything I could within those three things.
Yeah.
But no, I loved school and I wanted to keep my options open. When I was in high school, I remember I wanted to be a teacher.
Okay.
I wanted to study law, and I never did any of them. I ended up with music. I'm very happy with it. No, I guess I found out sometime in high school that I really liked writing, and I could hear that the songs I wrote, it was unpolished. It wasn't like there yet, but I heard that it had some potential, and that I thought, maybe I should try this a bit more. And then labels started to get interested and management started to get interested, and I waited with a lot of it and just spent the time in the studio and played a couple of gigs, but very low key. And then when I moved from Ålesund to Bergen, where I lived in for 3 years, that's when I started to get serious, and I met my manager, who I'm still with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You said as well before that some of your influences when you were younger were people like Joni Mitchell, unbelievable, and the likes of Adele as well. What was it in particular about their music that you connected with?
I think when it came to Adele, it was the first time I discovered a pop artist by myself.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I have 2 older siblings. I have an older sister and an older brother, and that's just how it works. You listen to what they're listening to.
Yeah.
So they showed me all the music. So my music, what do you call it? Like the music I listened to was only through them. But Adele was the first artist I discovered on my own. It was the first time I heard that, you know, an incredible original vocal. It didn't sound like anything I'd listened to before. And the songs were so good and so catchy, and I couldn't get them out of my head. And it was very classic. It was great songwriting. And then that voice was so unique. And that was the thing I fell in love with her. That it was so, I know this is cheesy, but it's very unapologetic music.
Yeah.
It's just like right in your face, and it just holds you there until the song is finished. That's how I feel about Rolling in the Deep.
Yeah,
it's just a
absolutely.
song that just like refuses to let you go, just holds you. And then, of course, Joni Mitchell. She was a big part of my childhood musically, but I never really got it until high school.
Yeah.
My mom is a big fan, but I didn't really understand the songs until I was like 16, 17.
And then you're listening to them again, and
Yeah,
you're
like, oh, this is
bawling.
exactly.
That's exactly. It's like she's in your head.
She's great.
Yeah.
Neil Young was very important in childhood.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different people.
I suppose fast forwarding a little bit, then I was at Glastonbury this year, so I saw your set. It was unbelievable. But
Thank you.
I know that you performed 2 years previously as well in 2017, and then this year you were on the other stage. So like, I mean, did you look back at your performance in 2017? And then almost think about how you had evolved as an artist for 2019, or at this point were you just like Glastonbury, walk in the park?
No. I think I look at every show as like I treat all the shows equally. And sometimes it helps if you're nervous, just saying it is just another show.
Yeah.
We've done this 100 times, and I know what I'm doing. I know that I'm supposed to be up there, and I know that my band is great. I know that we got it covered. It's gonna be the most important thing when we go on stage is just try to relax and have fun.
Yeah.
Because everything else is sorted out. And I think that's how I felt about Glastonbury. For me, it was just most important that I could enjoy myself.
Yeah.
And I did look back at some of the old footage from the first time we did Glastonbury, and I'm so cute and small, and I'm like, you can see that I'm really, really nervous.
I think he said to the audience at one point that like, it's something mad, as in like the amount of people at Glastonbury is like 6 times larger than the town that you grew up in. Like that's monumental though.
It is mad. I remember after that first show, we went up behind the park stage where we played, and we had a beer up at the top.
Yeah,
so
just
you can watch over the whole.
I love how you're like up at the
Queendom.
top. You know there. No, they don't let me up there, so I wouldn't know up there.
I didn't know. It was that how it worked.
Unbelievable though, yeah.
I thought it was open for everyone. Isn't it open for the public?
Oh shit, maybe it is.
It
actually.
is. Next year, you should
Yeah,
go.
if I can get to
It's really
Glastonbury.
fun.
If I can get there, yeah.
Yeah, but this year was incredible. It's important for me to say that I had the very best time, and I think at some point in the set this summer, I just lost control in a way of myself. I don't know what happened, but I kind of blacked out, just because I was so full of adrenaline and energy. I couldn't. I don't know. I don't know what happened, but it was.
Well, you were
insane.
definitely singing anyway, because it was an.
Oh yeah, it was great.
It was an unbelievable set.
I just feel like I was so. I don't know. It was a kind of out of your body type of thing going on. It was mad.
Another thing as well with your lyrics, you've said that you're kind of a storyteller, and that's something that you've, you know, kind of expressed. And I think sometimes it's with your lyrics, it's amazing, because I remember the first time I heard Dynamite, I was like, oh, this woman is inside my head, and then you can interpret it whatever way that person is when they're listening to it. Do you ever fear about, when you're writing, about sharing too much, or is that something that kind of comes in? Because, you know, female artists are sometimes given a lot of stick for oversharing and like, don't get into a relationship with her because she'll write a song about you and that kind of stuff. Does that ever come into your mind?
True. Maybe guys don't get that as much.
I don't think they do. No. Well, they don't. We can say that. Yeah, they don't.
I don't know. Because there's no statistics, but not really the whole relation thing. That's not what I'm thinking the most about. But it is true that it has changed a little bit the way I write. It has not changed the way I write just purely musically and how I work with the fact that I go to the piano, I work with some really talented people that I love working with, and we just have a good time in the studio, and we have that common goal of where we want to go. But what has changed is that, yes, I have to think about something that I didn't need to think about in the first year. When I wrote the first songs, like the year before things started to take off, I didn't think about like if I shared too much or not. But now, of course, it's something that is very important to me, that I have a private life and that people don't need to know every single detail about me. It's just sometimes it's nice to have things for yourself.
Yeah, definitely. I suppose as well, when something like Don't Kill My Vibe got so much traction because of the fact that, you know, you said that it was about this recording session and it was about this kind of uncomfortable situation that you felt you were in. I suppose it opened it up to that. And in the new album as well, like when you look at something like Business Dinners, it's kind of about that expectation that's put on you a little bit.
Yeah, but I think I'm glad you took out Business Dinners, because I think Business Dinners is as much about the pressure you put on yourself as much as the pressures from other places. And I gotta say, I have a fucking incredible team. They are amazing, and I feel like we are in the same like wavelength of where we are when we do know what our goal is, which is great. Business Dinners is inspired by like that first months of going into the music industry, and you don't really know how it works until you're in it. And that was quite overwhelming in the beginning, of just meeting so many different people and trying to figure out what was going on. But you learn a lot from it. But yeah, it's about the pressure you put on yourself. I'm extremely ambitious. So
do you enjoy business dinners, or like just straight off? I don't even know what a business dinner is. Sigrid, I don't get invited to that.
Business dinners? Yeah, they can be fun, but when you do a lot of them, it can be a lot. But so it's kind of a funny, like it's a, what do you call it, tongue in cheek? Is that the word?
Tongue in cheek.
It's a bit like, you know, it's a bit frisky, it's a bit sassy, I guess, but it's mostly
I suppose
fun.
the whole thing as well is that line about just being me, and that's kind of the take home from it. when Don't Kill
And
My...
I think I am.
You are, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I'm saying this, having met you 8 minutes ago, but
No,
I can,
but
I can say that. But I mean, it is. I suppose it's about trying to stay true to yourself.
Yes, and I don't. In one way, it's such a simple thing, and it comes, like it's you're just yourself, and if you trust yourself, and I love myself for everything I am, and both positive and negative, and I think that's important because you have to have a relationship to yourself because you're stuck with yourself for the rest of your life, and that's just the way it is. But I think there is something to be said that I am gonna evolve, and in terms of like image and stuff like that. Obviously, I'm 23. I started this when I was 19. When I'm 30, hopefully in this still and releasing albums and touring and having a great time. I'm going to be older and probably a little bit wiser and not different, but I just think it's important that there must be room, and I try to give myself room to be open and change your mind and evolve, and that's just how it's going to be.
Like how fast your career is moving. So in terms of like when you think about Glastonbury, playing it twice, when you think about some of the accolades, touring Europe, Sucker Punch, this massive new album, getting incredible reviews as well. Do you set yourselves goals, like as in you said there you're 23, do you set yourself goals about what it is that you want to achieve in the future, and do you have a big one?
Definitely. I just don't dare to talk about them publicly. No. Sorry. I know.
You gotta keep some things to yourself. I get that.
Yeah, that's a part of it.
But you are goal orientated in terms of like.
Very.
Yeah.
Yes. I am very ambitious, and I love working, and I feel like I have a lot of energy. I'm still very excited about what I do.
Yeah.
And who I'm doing it with. So, yeah, there's lots of more things I want to do. I just don't want to talk about it until I hopefully get it done.
Yeah.
What I can say is that my all-time big goal that I've said the whole time is just to like what I'm doing, because I think it's a huge privilege. I don't take for granted that I have a job that I really love and that I care so deeply about. So I just hope that I'll continue to do it.
Nice. We're going to play a really quick game with you just to wrap up. But first off, I want to ask you something that's probably going to flop, and I don't know if you're going to know who this is, but I have heard that this Irish performer is massive in Norway, and in 2016 he was in like the charts for 6 weeks. Do you know who Johnny Logan is?
No. Johnny Logan.
Johnny Logan, yeah. He's massive, right? Okay, so we have a I'm not gonna sing a song for you, but he sings this song called "Hold Me Now." Is that right?
Yeah. Wait. Can someone singing, or can I hear it?
Hold me now. Do, 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 do. It was in a McDonald's ad as well.
What?
Yeah, it was the Eurovision in 1987, and then his album was in the Norwegian
so he's
chart.
not an upcoming artist?
No, God no.
So when was he big in Norway?
Not. Oh, like 2016, his album was in the charts for like 6 weeks, number one in Norway.
Now I feel like I've lived under a rock.
Now, I wish I had a video for us to show you, and I'm absolutely going to cut out me singing Johnny Logan to you there. But maybe Google him if you have a chance.
I will. Now I feel sorry.
No, don't. My Norwegian buddy told me about Johnny Logan, but look, I'll show you a video about it. So we're going to play this game. It's called Vibe or No Vibe. Okay, so first up, vibe or no vibe. Irish breakfast tea.
What is Irish breakfast tea?
Cup of tea in the morning.
Just a cup of tea?
Yeah.
No vibe.
You don't like tea?
I love tea, but I want coffee in the morning. I'm a much bigger coffee person. I'm struggling with not drinking too much coffee. I have to maintain myself. Yeah, sad. If I could, I would drink coffee all the time.
Absolutely fair. Okay, crisp sandwiches, vibe or no vibe?
Crisp sandwiches? Is this like an Irish thing too?
I think it's a world thing. You just put the crisps in the sandwiches and you just go for it.
Crisp in the sandwich, that's not a vibe at all. 100% not a vibe. What? That's really strange. No, I wouldn't do that.
Okay, Guinness, vibe or no vibe?
We discussed this today. Guinness. Not a vibe. I know, okay, I love beer, but I miss the fizziness, and it's a bit, I don't know, it's a bit too thick in a way. But maybe I just need to grow older, and then I'll love it in 3 years. Who knows? Maybe I need to be convinced.
Okay, Portaloos, vibe or no vibe?
Portaloos?
Yeah, porta potties, like those portable toilets that you use at festivals.
Oh God. Portaloos. It is what it is. Not a vibe, but if you're at a festival, that's how it is.
And Christmas in November, vibe or no vibe?
No, Christmas in November, I think it's too early. It's not a vibe. No, December 1st, I just go full on Mariah Carey for the next month. And no, before that, it's just like, I can't drink Christmas. Is Christmas soda a big thing here? We have julebrus in Norway. It's really, really good soda. And my parents always buy a lot of it when me and my sister come home. That's a great vibe, but not until December 1st. I don't do any Christmas stuff before that. Also, I don't like stressing with like Christmas shopping before you have to stress about it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
And finally, Dublin, vibe or no vibe?
Dublin is the best vibe. I love Dublin. It's great to be here. There's so many cozy streets here. I love the bridge and the water and the people and all the pubs and bars. Super cozy.
And now we're back again. Just before the break as well, well, actually during the break, we were talking about Connected. We must talk about this, Aoife. It's absolutely amazing. When I saw you putting up about it, I actually researched into it to read about it. So it's with 3 Ireland, is it?
Yeah, it's with 3 Ireland, and they're launching the Connected restaurant for Christmas. And basically the whole idea is they have a Connected restaurant in Dublin and a Connected restaurant in New York. So if there's any like family or friends or loved ones in New York that can't make it home for Christmas, you go in to the restaurant. It's on between the 6th to the 8th of December, and you go in and you have your Christmas dinner, and there's a screen in front of you, and it's live streamed to the other restaurant. So you can have your Christmas dinner with your loved one in New York and have that.
Oh my God, amazing.
That actually makes me feel emotional. Like I feel like if I went in there and saw people with their loved ones through a screen, I'd get so
like
emotional.
an Irish mammy on the ones. No, I'd bawl.
No, I'd bawl.
If they haven't been home for like a year or two, I mean, it's actually amazing to be able to go in and have that Christmas dinner and have an occasion about it.
I know.
And there's probably loads of New Yorkers who work-wise can't come home.
This is it, with crazy hours and stuff. So so I just launched that today actually, and obviously I've such connects with New York, so it was actually perfect for me. And I just thought it was such heartwarming campaign. It's really nice.
Although when I'm home and all my family's home for Christmas, I get so excited. You forget that there's so many people that it's a tough time of the year for them because they are
emotional.
It's emotional, and they are far away from their families. That this is such a a lovely idea to be
so
seeing
nice.
them eating your little meal.
That's really fab. I love that.
So I'm actually going to go and I'm going to take part in it in New York.
Okay.
And then my mum and my dad are going to come up from Tip, and they're going to come into the one in Dublin.
Fabulous.
Yeah, they're so excited. They're like, woohoo, this could be great.
That is so nice.
So it's going to be such an amazing thing even for me to be able to take part in, obviously being an ambassador for the campaign, and so it's going great.
And is it I was going to say, is it a real restaurant in Dublin? But it's
it's a real restaurant. Actually, the chef is a guy called Flynn McGarry. He's an Irish American chef, and he's amazing. He's literally blowing up over in America. So I'm looking forward to it.
Because I laughed as well. You put up a picture and it was you and a kind of was it a waiter that was ginger or something? You were I swear we don't have to be ginger.
That's it. So Flynn, he's Irish American. He's also ginger. So the two of us are brother and sister.
So representing Ireland.
We're so representing, and he's great. He's so much fun. So it was a great day. Yeah.
Again, that's a really fun gig that when you were saying about things that you wouldn't necessarily do.
Exactly.
Weird situations.
Weird situations.
Yeah, exactly. But sharing as well something that can make a difference in other people's lives as well. Sharing kind of things that are happening.
Yeah.
And that's a great perk as well.
That's a really good example of the good side.
Yeah, and getting to go to that then with your parents and actually test it out yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
That's really, really
and showing other families that this is here. Who wouldn't have known about it if they didn't follow Aoife. Yeah.
Exactly. See, that's the thing. Influencing. What was it again?
Inspiring, was it?
No, inspirating.
Inspirating.
Bloody inspirating.
I'm an inspirator.
I'm
obsessed with that.
I actually really like it. I think it's quite catchy.
I think it is.
Yeah, and nice.
So catchy.
Inspirator.
I'm going to coin that.
Yeah, you really need to. And speaking of work, you are now on your own.
My heart actually kind of went, I'm yeah.
Right down into your ass. Yeah, so you're PRing by yourself. Tell me about
PRing my
this
PR bits.
new venture.
Yeah, so, God, what age am I now? I'm mid to late 20s. And since, like, God, 2021, I've been working in big PR agencies around Dublin. I was head of PR for Publicis for the last 4 years and quit in April. It's kind of funny, though. I had knocked a day off for the past, like, 2 or 3 years. I was only on a 3-day week at the end.
You were slowly getting to the point where you're like, I'm by myself.
Slowest leaving process. My like the MD at Publicis made a joke about it in my leaving speech. Yeah, every time I tried to hand my notice in, he'd just knock a day off, and I'd be like, fine, I'll stay. And then finally in April, I was like, I'm leaving.
I need to go.
Yeah, so it was, you know, I was being torn in a few different directions, and you know, I'd quite a hefty job in there that needed full time, you know, concentration. So yeah, it was definitely the right time to go. It was an amazing company to work for, so it was hard to leave, and you're just terrified leaving your salary, of course. But sure, everyone that goes freelance feels the same way, and if you don't do it, you know, it's never going to change. But I'm so happy I did it.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
And I think most people that do end up going freelance are quite happy about it, because it's something that you don't just jump into. You do think about it a lot, you know, and think about like whether or not it's for you. And
the right time, I think, is a massive one. Like, I wanted to go solo at least a year before I left, actually. But looking back, I'm so glad I waited until it was really the right time. Like, I needed to be at a point where I felt like I could run and manage PR campaigns completely on my own. And I waited until that point. And now, I have my own clients, and it's amazing.
Like, that's really exciting then as well, because I suppose when it comes to your influencer work as well, it's easier to maybe like slot it in because you're working for yourself. You can kind of...
So I look at my week now and I know what I need to do client-wise, and then I manage it now myself, and it's working out so much better than having to constantly, I suppose, work around publicists. Now I get to work around myself, so
yeah, no, that is really exciting. And when it comes to like an office space, do you kind of just like float about? Or do you have...
that's what I'm kind of in limbo with, to be honest. So I only left in April, and I'm lucky enough that my dad has got me an office in his work. But it's in Dublin Port, so not exactly where you'd expect to find a PR agency. So not for the long term. I'm looking at, you know, the likes of the rent a space. They're actually quite expensive. So you're like,
no, they are. They genuinely are, because even when we were getting our place painted here, we were like, oh, we'll just ship ourselves all into those, like, you know, hot desking things. And then we looked them up and we're like, maybe no, we'll just work with the paint.
I think I'm going to commit to it in January. Yeah. But I've kind of been floating around hotels as well, which is fine.
But floating around hotels is absolutely perfect.
It is. And some of them have really like designated working areas now.
No, a new hotel opened up around the corner from here, and even like that, it's got all plugs against all seats. I'm like, you're only calling for me to come and work from here.
Exactly. They actually seem to quite like it.
Yeah, they do.
Like, I was originally worried that they'd be like, hon, like, do you need anything else? Or are you leaving? You've been here for 3 hours. They actually seem to quite like it.
Yeah.
I just never go to the same hotel more than once a week.
Yeah.
I like jump around.
But sure, we have so many of them now. You could be jumping for fucking weeks.
But no, I'm delighted I went solo, and I have like 4 retainer clients now, which is kind of where I need to leave it, I think, because I obviously have R.ie now, which I'm so excited about, and my radio bits, and then the influencer stuff. So it's a nice level.
Yeah, it is definitely, because like a lot of those, like you were saying, you know, you're doing the R.ie one quite common, and then you're doing the FM104 as well. Is that still a thing that you do?
I'm in talks to them about changing it up, because I've been doing the same thing for almost 2 years now in FM104. So I'm on pause with them at the moment. So that's...
So you're doing loads of little bits that are kind of constantly like ticking over. So like that, I suppose it's nice to not have too many clients that you're like overwhelmed.
Exactly. And I really like my clients at the moment. They're amazing. I love them. It's such a nice atmosphere. But I think with me, I have to switch things up. Like, I love that it goes from styling live on the Today Show on R.ie to radio bits to then my PR client, and you know, coming in and doing things like this. I love the change.
So do I.
Yeah.
I love it.
Change is definitely the spice of life.
Interesting.
Yeah. And then there's the Connected. Have you any other plans in the pipeline, or is it constant now wedding prep?
Yeah, like you never know what's around the corner, to be
Yeah.
honest. Like you never know what's coming up. I'm like flat out busy now ahead of Christmas. Christmas is just such a manic time. And then I suppose January, I'll probably do, I've kind of like parked a lot of the wedding stuff right now because I'm just like focusing on work. And then January, it'll be like the actually like 6-month mark. So I'll have like loads of little bits to be doing. It's kind of like the devil's in the detail then kind of
Yeah.
in terms of like bridesmaids dresses.
It's
and,
the
like,
hardest
things like
thing.
that.
You hear this all the time. The guest list, the numbers.
Yeah, we did our guest list kind of like a rough one there like
Yeah.
a couple of weeks ago, and it was like yeah, it was hard. It's
And then,
really hard.
Like, I suppose from both of your sides, it's like, who do you chop? You
Yeah.
know, and
I
stuff
know,
like
and
that.
it's really, and he has a really big family, so like it is monstrous. Like,
Really?
yeah. But no, it'll be fine. It's not
Yeah.
too bad. Yeah, it'll
Yeah.
be grand. And yeah,
So exciting.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's gonna be great.
Those
Like it
pictures
is.
are going to be insane.
Oh, stop. The pictures from your engagement at the Eiffel Tower, I was just like, this
Unbelievable.
looks like a fairy
Yeah,
tale.
it's coming
Yeah.
around to my year, like little anniversary of being engaged because it was on the 21st of December. An easy one to remember because it's the shortest day of the year. Yeah, and it was in Paris, and he organised like a photographer to be in the bushes. Like I didn't know obviously.
That is just.
my picture was so taken.
Oh my god! If my boyfriend is watching, that
Oh
is
yeah, he
amazing.
nailed it. In fairness, he actually did nail it. Like if you don't know the story, like quick brief one, it was basically we're going on a surprise trip.
Okay.
Pack a bag. We're in Dublin at the time. And I was like, where are we going? And then like rang my friends. I was like, I think something's gonna happen.
Yeah.
My
Oh
friends
my
were
gosh.
like, nah, love, like you're going to Lapland to see Santa.
Yeah.
I was like, cheers. And then got to Paris. I hadn't been to Paris before. Or we got to the airport and he was like, surprise, we went to Paris. And I was like, oh, I do think something's
Oh
Yeah,
my
when you hear
gosh.
Paris, you think,
At
Yeah.
Christmas weekend,
Yeah,
I was like,
come on.
a surprise trip.
Yeah.
But he did it then like straight away, kind of like when we got there on the Friday, because the Yellow Vest protests were all on the Saturday. He'd
Oh my
originally
gosh.
planned it for the Saturday, but then he had to switch and change the whole
Yeah.
plan to the Friday. So it happened at like 3 p.m. on the dot, because that's when he had booked the photographer for, and like they
Oh my god.
yeah, and they had exchanged like he'd sent like a picture of us to the photographer, and the photographer sent a picture of himself. So like Gary had seen him like there, and I didn't notice, and he was like, "It's on."
That is amazing.
that's like Mission Impossible.
Yeah,
like,
I know,
That's
it's
amazing.
insane. And your man had like sent a picture of where Gary was to stand with like an X on the ground. And Gary obviously had that in his head. So we were like walking down. I was none the wiser. I was like trying to like scout a place
God,
for
these
like
pictures are even
my
more
Instagram.
amazing now.
Yeah. And then like all of a sudden he just like started talking about us, and then he started crying.
Oh my gosh. I'm
That
actually going
makes
to
me
look at these
feel
pictures after
so
this.
emotional. Yeah, I know, because
yeah.
now I know like the
Now
full
that
story.
I know the
I'll
story.
stare at it and think of the story.
Yeah,
That's
so sweet.
And
like-
the pictures themselves are actually gorgeous.
They're gorgeous, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then afterwards, like a good like 5-10 minutes after, it's like I obviously didn't know a photographer was there, because if anyone has been in Trocadero at the Eiffel Tower in Paris, it's like thronged with people and everyone's taking pictures. So I didn't like notice your man
you
at
wouldn't.
all.
Yeah.
And you go into a bubble anyway when it's
Yeah.
happening. You're just so focused. And then your man came over and he was like, "Oh, I've been taking photos all along," and I was like, "Show me the goods."
Oh my god, I love it.
Oh, no, I definitely want pictures as well. I'd be like, wait for this moment, someone better be recording
But you know
something.
what? I actually was really shocked, because
Yeah.
I know like my fiance isn't like obviously on my Instagram, so I didn't think he would think to
get
go ahead
pictures.
and get pictures, like
Oh, that's
on
so
his own
cute how well he
accord.
knows
So
you.
cute.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He
that's
he
so
knows
cute.
me, like,
Because he would
yeah.
have had to almost redo it.
Oh yeah, we would have had to redo it. So
Yeah.
the one like I posted on Instagram was the actual moment, because your man had given all these instructions to be like, I want to get her reaction, like not really me, but like I want to get her reaction. So that was like my natural reaction
Yeah,
to the
that's so
moment.
And that's so raw and beautiful.
So,
then,
and
you
it was
know,
such a nice picture. I was
Yeah.
just like, oh,
Yeah.
So it's really nice. So he did such a good job. And then he was like, right, I did the proposal, now you just do the wedding. And
Yeah.
I'm like, thanks, hon.
But even like organising to make sure the guy's there and you're there all at the same time,
Oh, yeah,
standing in the
that's a
right place,
lot.
like that's
And
intense.
the photographer's French, like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Gary's like Google Translate, like, do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like, yeah.
Oh, that yeah, no, you look like a Disney princess in those pictures. They were just so beautiful,
Yeah.
like really, really nice. But
Ain't
yeah.
seen nothing yet.
I know, wait to the wedding.
I know, I actually can't wait. But yeah, it was absolutely fantastic to have the two of you on.
Queen.
I'm going to link your Instagrams, obviously, because if people aren't following you, they need to, because coming
us. We're fabulous.
With all the prep for your wedding and all the travel that you do, it's key. And your big news.
Yeah.
That's going to be a big one for everyone to follow and listen to as well. So yeah, thank you so much for coming to the show, Rob.
Thank you.
Thank you.